Hey everyone, welcome back to another info session by TripToGo. I'm Kevin, and today we're taking you straight into the heart of East Africa, Uganda. So let's grab your coffee, sit back, and let's dive in. Hi Lorraine, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to learn more about Uganda and what makes it such a special and unique destination. Would you like to just first introduce yourself for the
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Yes, I'm excited to share Uganda. It is probably the most beautiful country that I've ever been to. I spent my life traveling around the world. I've been to more than 100 countries. I've worked on television, radio, and I'm a regular journalist. So I was doing all of that. And then one day somebody invited me to Uganda. And I said, do you know what? It's not really a place that I know anything about. And here I am now.
Yeah.
Telling everybody about Uganda.
That's amazing. So first, let's start with the big draw of Uganda, which is the wildlife.
Yes.
It's basically the safari capital of East Africa. So I just have a question for you. Gorilla trekking, it's on everyone's bucket list. For someone who's never been gorilla trekking, what kind of experience would you expect?
So Uganda is one of two countries where you can actually go gorilla trekking.
Mm-hmm.
And in Uganda, it's half the price of the other country where you can gorilla trek.
Okay.
And the money goes towards conservation. And the biggest thing really about gorilla trekking is we want to preserve the gorillas for our children, our grandchildren, and their grandchildren. So at the moment, the numbers are definitely growing. We have 1,063 gorillas in the wild as of today.
Oh wow.
Possibly 64 because there's one just about to be born. And these are so special because what we are allowed to do in Uganda is you're allowed to go and trek and look for the gorillas. So what happens is you stay up in the mountains of Bwindi, and I'm really going to set the scene for you now. So You're in a safari vehicle, which usually seats about 6 or 7 people if you include the front seat.
Okay.
And you start climbing into the mountains. Well, in Uganda, they often use tea plantations to stop the gorillas going into places where they're not really supposed to do. So it's a natural barrier because they don't like the smell. So what you find is these gorgeous mountains, super, super green, sometimes with the mist. You'll see the mist sort of halfway up the mountain as you're climbing up, and you see all the green and the steps up with the gorgeous plantations all around, and it's just stunning. And then on the next morning, usually kind of early in the morning, not too early, you'll go out and you'll gorilla trek. So you'll trek for up to 4 hours. Sometimes you might be very lucky because remember, these are wild animals. Yeah. They're not on our time frame. We can't tell them where to go or whatever. And often there's no actual path to get to them. So the people that will take you on these treks will have a machete, and they will be cutting the trail as you're walking. So they're literally creating that pathway for you to. Once you find one family, and there'll be a bunch of about 8 people per group, once you find that family, you're allowed to hang out with them.
Oh wow.
For about an hour.
Okay.
And you can just sit and observe, and they won't bother you because they're used to it. And the guides are usually from the Batwa community. So the Batwa community, you'll often hear them referred to as pygmies. They lived in the forest for centuries. The pygmy people lived in the forest, and they actually lived with the gorillas. And when they started to work on conservation, they actually ousted them from the forest, gave them land in Bwindi in the region, but gave them jobs working as guides to take you to see the gorillas. And so it's a very wonderful giving back experience. The conservation money goes to help with the gorillas. The experience itself can last an hour. You're allowed to sit and just observe. And you can get very close. Sometimes closer than you'd perhaps feel, but sometimes, you're just told, just sit still, and then they're not going to be aggressive because they're very family oriented.
Yeah.
But they also don't want you to go too close. They don't want you to go up and say, "Oh, cute little gorilla," because you can't do that. They're wild animals, of course. But it's a very, very unique experience that when you combine the gorillas with the big five of the wildlife, you can't get that anywhere else.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. It sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Once in a lifetime, yes.
So speaking of animals, Uganda is more than just gorillas. So could you tell us more about the other wildlife experiences?
Yes. Well, part of the Big Seven, because everywhere in the world we talk about the Big Five.
Yeah.
So you have the Big Five would be the lions, the leopards, the elephants, the buffalo, and the rhino. So you see the Big Five in Uganda. Rhinos separately, and we'll talk about rhinos a little bit later because that's a whole separate topic.
Okay.
But you see all of the Big Five, plus you see the chimpanzees and the gorillas. And when I say that you see the Big Five, you're also going to see some of my favorites, which are the giraffes, of course, and there'll be lots and lots of other wildlife like the antelopes, all kinds of different antelopes, herds and herds of elephants. And one of the best things about going on a safari in Uganda is it's a fairly new and up-and-coming destination.
Yeah.
They haven't heard about Uganda, so let's say there's a herd of elephants somewhere. You're not going to find 50 trucks going to look at one herd of elephants. You're going to find you are going to be the only ones, perhaps another one somewhere. And when we spot a leopard, you might spot 5 leopards in a tree. Lions just hanging out. We've seen kills, we've seen all kinds of experiences without the over-tourism, and that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. It's very different wildlife experiences. So beyond just the wildlife, there's also the adventure junkies. So this one's for the adventure junkies. Is what activities would you recommend for the thrill seekers that go to Uganda and really want a unique experience?
Definitely. So have you ever done whitewater rafting?
No, I'd love to do that though. That sounds amazing, yeah.
We've got level 5 whitewater rafting.
Okay, wow.
We've also got some amazing areas to do bungee jumping.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
yeah.
Right over the Nile.
Yeah.
You can bungee jump right over the Nile.
Oh, that'd be amazing, yeah.
Lots of kayaking experiences. Of course, you've got the source of the Nile right there.
Yeah.
You can actually stay in a lodge, which is a tented lodge, but it is really luxury glamping, if you like. But one of my favorite places I've ever stayed is right on the edge of the Nile. And when we first arrived, the Nile was literally as far as that wall from me, 5 feet from your bed. It was really calming and it was a fantastic experience. But to just be able to sit and sleep or eat dinner right beside the Nile, it's incredible. And waterfalls just a little bit beyond that. Spectacular.
Yeah, wow, that sounds amazing. For thrill seekers, you could really find something you want to do.
Yeah, something for everyone.
Yeah, so beyond just the safari, Uganda has such a rich culture in its wildlife. Let's just talk about the people and the traditions. So Uganda has over 50 ethnic groups. How does that diversity come alive for travelers when you go there?
So one of the biggest things when you travel, you always want to know how you're going to feel when you get there. How are the people going to make you feel? How is the, is the welcome? Am I going to feel a little bit insecure in the area? No, not at all. They're going to welcome you so well that you're going to feel like you've arrived with family, extended family. They are the most warm, welcoming, hospitable people I've ever come across. You'll find children running along the street because they actually want to say hello to you, and you'll find that the people are just happy that you're there because they understand the value of a tourist. And you'll find that they're just the most warm, hospitably welcoming mix of people that you've ever come across. And different cultures, different languages. There's over 50 languages, but English is the main language.
Okay.
And then second to that is Lugandan and Swahili. But you'll find different religions. Large population are Christian, and then Muslim, and everybody lives very harmoniously together, similar to sort of Tanzania, very, very harmonious, not in any way oppressive or anything. And just they're just going to treat you like family, honestly. Culturally, they love to share their culture, so you can go and have cultural experiences. So you might go into somebody's home and learn how to cook a meal like they would cook. Or one of the experiences in an area called Chibali is you can go to somebody's house and this lady has cooked a 12-course meal, and then she'll put it on this massive table and it'll go around in a circle, and she'll tell you all sorts of stories, because they're all big on storytelling. All sorts of stories about the culture and how they live, and how what they do when they marry, and all sorts of things. And then there's other places where you can go and you can act it out. And a lady who is about to get married will be locked away in one of these huts with other family members, female family members, and they'll basically fatten her up, and they feed her the highest fat content milk and cream, and until she's ready to be presented to the husband, and that's still done to this day in certain areas of the country. So it's very interesting to learn about the different cultures and the different ways that people live, and to learn about the history and everything. But yeah, they're going to welcome you in every single area that you go in the country. You're going to feel like you've arrived as family. Yeah,
it sounds like such a rich culture. It sounds amazing. Speaking of the culture as well, is there any culinary traditions or dishes that travelers should definitely try?
The Rolex.
The Rolex?
Yes, the Rolex. So the Rolex, it's a simple thing. It is it's a large omelette.
Okay.
Very thin.
Yeah.
On top of a chapati, which has been made on charcoal, so you get that rich flavor.
Oh wow!
And then they add fillings into that Rolex and they roll it up, and that is one of the best street foods.
That sounds good.
It's so delicious, and you'll see that often. There's a lot of dishes that are typical sort of African stews, which are real deep flavors, delicious flavors. And
is there also like local coffee and tea as well?
So Uganda has, I would say, it is the best coffee.
Really?
The best coffee in the entire world.
Wow.
And I defy you to go there and tell me that it's not. But we will often come back with 2 big sackfuls of coffee. It's the best, really.
That sounds amazing, yeah. Crafts are such an important part of Ugandan culture as well. Is there any like local crafts that travelers should take home as souvenirs, or how they can support the communities with the local crafts?
Yes, I mean there's a lot of things that they'll make using what they have. So the basketware is very, very well known in Uganda, and also a lot of wood carving, because they have a lot of trees in Uganda. So that you find lots of little wood carvings. You can get wood carvings of the gorillas if you go up into the mountains. But I always say to travelers, make sure that you find out where something is made. If it's made locally, you're supporting the local community. That's always, I think, the best way to do it. And every community will have something that they specifically make. So you might go to a village where they grow coffee and they will roast it right there, and that's your souvenir that you could buy to take home from there. There's a lot of community-led tourism. So the community actually prints their own sweatshirts and t-shirts, but they're really intricate and detailed, and with something on every little part of the t-shirt or something. And they're great gifts, unique thing, and it's been made right there by the
unique
Batwa
to the
people.
region.
It's unique. They are the ones that are profiting from it directly, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you mentioned that staying in Uganda is part of the adventure itself. Could you just elaborate more on like the lodging options?
Yes, so there's something for everyone. There's everything from backpacking lodges all the way up to super luxury. We've had recently Abercrombie and Kent have just opened a lodge there. We've got some beautiful new lodges that have even got their own plunge pools as well. They're with wild places. There's one right on the edge of the Kazinga Channel in Queen Elizabeth National Park. It's got its own plunge pool. So at night you have to make sure that even though it's got a proper floor and a proper roof, it's actually a tented camp. But it doesn't look like a tent.
Yeah.
You know, not glass doors at the front sort of thing. But you have your own plunge pool, which is where to be a little bit careful to make sure that you've zipped your tented opening at the front all the way down to the bottom, because the hippos, who typically have to spend the entire day in the water because they don't have any natural sunscreen, they will come out at night and they will go in your plunge pool.
Oh, wow.
But gorgeous accommodations. And then there's some middle of the road accommodations, and then there'll be some more backpacking.
So now let's talk a little bit of logistics, just getting there and getting around. Like, what are the key entry points for North American travelers? And is there any like tips you'd have for visas or vaccine requirements?
Yes, so I work with the Uganda High Commission, which is based in Ottawa, and we can get you your visa. So it's $50 US, and that is going to take about 3 or 4 days maximum. You can even get it within 24 hours if you needed to. And we can even give you a visa that will be good for another couple of countries as well, including Rwanda and Kenya. Now, talking about flights, flights from North America, one of the best ways to go is using Ethiopian Airlines. Flies out of most North American hubs, which is great. So Ethiopian Airlines would then go into Addis Ababa, and from Addis Ababa you have a direct flight. The other one you can use is KLM. So there's a very good transfer through Amsterdam and onto Entebbe, which is a very good connection. And also Air France straight into Paris, which will then give you a very good connection straight into Entebbe as well from North America.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty easy to get to.
Accessible.
It's definitely accessible. It's more accessible than you think.
Once you land, how would you explore the country? Like a tour guide or a safari or a self-trip?
I don't recommend self-trips.
No?
Because the roads are really not very accessible for your own rental vehicle. Yeah. And it's not for safety, it's just that you wouldn't know where to go. There's not really road signs that you would expect. So the best way to do it is to hire a tour guide, a tour operator, maximum 6 people per vehicle.
Okay. And
those vehicles will stay with you the entire trip. Have that consistency and that feeling that you're very safe.
Yeah.
And there's tourist police everywhere as well. So if ever you needed something, there'll always be somebody there to help you. The phones are accessible. You will be able to get a SIM card at the airport that you can use around the country.
Okay.
So you're going to feel comfortable when you travel there. Definitely, you're not going to feel isolated and unsafe. That's for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like the best way to do it. So Uganda calls itself the adventure capital. Do you have any tips to balance the adventure with downtime?
Yes, there are some wonderful places where you can get the most amazing massages that you've ever had in your life. But downtime is different for different people. So Kampala is one of the capitals in Africa for evening entertainment.
Okay.
So you'll find that the bars and nightclubs in Kampala are some of the best in the world. So they often will offer you like an organized tour where you can go on a night out, and people that do this are amazed by the music and the culture of the late night scene, as it's known, and there's a ton to do there.
That sounds amazing. Is there any other must-sees or hidden gems that travelers should know about Uganda?
Yes.
Just crater lakes or remote cultural villages?
Yes, lots. So when you go into Bwindi, you have to go and visit the Batwa people. They're very poor.
Okay.
We set up a foundation, actually. We're trying to raise money for water for them because they don't have clean water at the moment in that area.
Okay.
Their life expectancy is 28.
Oh no.
So with conservation efforts and with more tourism, it does help with the infrastructure that they would have. So we're really trying to help them with that.
Yeah.
I would definitely suggest when you're going to Uganda, if you're a bird watcher, if you love birds, there's over 1,000 species of birds, and one of them is this high, and it's called a shoebill, and it looks like a dinosaur.
Oh.
It's the weirdest looking thing. They actually do fly. It's called a shoebill stork, and they actually fly, and it's just the coolest looking, unique, ugliest bird you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And of course the crane, which is their national bird.
Mm-hmm.
Tons and tons of bird watching opportunities everywhere. And then the Crater Lakes. Kidepo is where, and I said I would mention about the rhinos earlier. So there is a rhino sanctuary that you can visit. We all know rhinos are very endangered. Big problems with rhinos all over Africa. So there's this huge conservation effort to try to protect the rhinos. Really exciting that they're starting to do that. But the conservation efforts, as tourism increases, there's more money, because all of the money for the national parks goes towards the conservation. So this is what's helping to protect the wildlife, and that's really important for our kids and our grandkids. Now we want to be able to hand out that to our children. Can I show you my book?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was looking this whole time. It looks very interesting. Yeah.
So one of the things I love is, we have one grandchild. She's 6, and she is just courageous and adventurous and loves to know everything. So when we were in Uganda, I decided that I was going to write a book all about the baby gorilla that was born in Bwindi, and we called him Niru. And he was born in Bwindi, and I wanted to tell the story of the fact that in conserving the gorilla population and conserving the forests is so important. So if we can teach them at a very young age, 6 years old, if we can teach them that it's really important to save habitats for the animals, and how we do that, and what it is that we need to do to protect the animals. So this is all about Niru, the baby gorilla, and this is Niru. This is the real baby gorilla.
Oh wow.
Okay, and it's a story for 4 to 8 year olds. It's just something that I wrote as a passion of mine, and the next book is all going to be all about the new baby rhino that was just born.
Oh wow, yeah, that's amazing. Just a little bit on travel tips, just for families. What would make Uganda such a great destination for families?
So for a family, well, the trucks are enclosed. So when you go gorilla trekking, you couldn't take young children, obviously, because of the safety. But when you go to the safari or bird watching or anything, those trucks are closed in. They're not open trucks like in South Africa. So the safety aspect, no kids are going to be jumping out, nothing's going to be jumping in, because the trucks are going to be closed, and the roofs pop up. So you're actually going to be able to take your big lenses from the top and see everything from standing up in the trucks. You know, I mean, a young child I wouldn't necessarily take in an open truck on safari, because you don't want them to say, "Oh, he's so cute," and just, you know, "I'm going to get out now and have a look."
Yeah.
Not that they would, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
You just want to make sure that they're safe. Younger children can go chimpanzee trekking.
Okay.
Now, chimpanzee trekking is going to be cheaper. It's only $250 a person, and that's the conservation fee. And $250 per person, but less for children. And they take you right into the forest again, and you can go looking for the chimpanzees and lots of other different primates, because it's literally a country filled with primates. So food-wise and safety-wise and experience-wise, you're going to find that families.
Is there an age limit for the different tours for kids?
Only for gorilla trekking. So you're looking at under 16 for gorilla trekking.
Okay.
It's too risky.
No,
you know,
definitely,
on the trails there. For the chimp trekking, I think it's 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And actually, within the lodges, you're going to see loads of monkeys. They'll come right on the balconies. You have to make sure that you close your doors and windows at night because they'll come right in. The monkeys are everywhere. Where you stay in the lodges, the monkeys are everywhere. So the kids are going to really see them, even if they're not going trekking. They're going to see the irregular monkeys.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lorraine. I just want to know if you have any final message for the Trip2Go travelers.
I think that now is the time to go to Uganda. I definitely think it is an up-and-coming destination where tourism hasn't caught up with the availability that there is right now.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a secret, and don't we all love a secret?
Yeah.
We all love to go somewhere first, and tourism is in the millions in Kenya. You'll often find, you know, truck after truck after truck at high season, and in Uganda, it's in the thousands. So that gives you a big idea of the difference of the numbers that you're going to encounter when you're trying to see the wildlife. And there's a huge abundance of wildlife as well. So
Yeah.
you really do see a lot of whales.
No, it sounds amazing because it's rising on my bucket list now. I
Good,
want to
good.
see, yeah.
That's the plan.
You've sold me, yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Good.
So I just want to say finally, just thank you so much for sharing your insights, and you could really feel the passion for Uganda. I just want to thank you so much for your time, sharing
It's a
everything for us.
pleasure, absolutely. And if you do want to go there, you must let me know and we will get you that visa.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
To our viewers, don't forget to subscribe to Trip2Go for more info sessions and interviews. And remember, we always have weekly deals and amazing giveaways to make your adventure unforgettable. See you on the next one. Adventure awaits with Trip2Go.